गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन् ऊतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Namaste everybody. Solar therapy, we are going on second lesson today. Next slide, please. Today we are going to see the difference between scientific information that we have about sun and the Vedic literature guidelines. Next slide, please. Scientific findings have been recorded and Vedic studies have been also recorded. Many of the information that when we compare, we find Vedic scriptures having more information. Next slide, please. The modern men mostly depend upon results of researchers from Western world as reliable. They got scientific institutions for a long time in England and other countries. And in India, which was ruled by British for a long time, they made research institutions in England, and many researchers from India had to send their papers to those institutions. And then they were approved. But earlier to foreign invasion, there were so many foreign invasions in India. And prior to that, in the entire world, India was the most cultured country, and it had developed so much of scientific methodologies that people were able to get so many things done right there where they were. But today it's not believable that Rama flew from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya in Pushpaka Viman. All those things looks to be mythology and story, and we don't believe in that. And there came a period of invasions of foreigners into India, and many of our cultural practices were forgotten or changed by the influence of Christians and Islamic rules, and so many people have changed our beliefs and our practices. So at a later stage, we had to depend only on the modern researchers, which were information coming from Western world. But even during those times, in later years, when Indians started studying higher education and still higher education and entered into research field, many Indians, including Dr. K.S. Krishnan, Sir C.V. Raman, they were all scientists, known scientists in India, and they associated with so many other scientists in the Western world and in India. There were so many scientists from Bengal and other states who worked on research projects, and they brought out so many information, and their research papers were approved by England scientific societies. All searches about the order of creation, if you refer to the Western world, they are referring to Christian and Jewish Bible stories and telling us like that. Next slide, please. When we examine the source of scientific research which led to the details of sun's chemistry, we are here dealing with sunlight and sun chemistry. We learned that they did it by comparing the wavelengths of different elements known to men. and ascertaining that the sun is composed of those chemicals, because this they concluded by studying the wavelengths of sun's rays. Sun has got 7 rays, 7 colors, and each color has got different wavelengths. And they tried this color radiation from different elements in Earth, and then when they compared the wavelength of certain elements that they know, then they compared it with sunlight and they matched few of them, and they said, okay, the sun is composed of this material or that material. This is the information they got. Next slide, please. So when we compare all this information, we find that it is a man's imagination, and those people who compared these wavelengths and declared that the sun is composed of these materials, there was nobody to challenge them. That is all the information they got, and they proved it according to their own study. They proved that these are the chemicals which are having these wavelengths. Light emitting from them is having the same wavelength as the sun's rays. So they deduce that sun is a huge ball of fire burning hydrogen and helium continuously. That's what they deduced. There's nobody to challenge, nothing else to compare with. So whatever they proved, that was approved, and they were awarded prizes and distinctions as the great scientists who found out the chemistry of sunlight. Sun develops the electromagnetic energy with its rays, keeping all the planets around it, revolving around it, and then moving along with it wherever sun moves. These are the things they found out. Whereas the ancient Indian scriptures have all this information already with them. When the rest of the world was considering that the world is flat, Indian scriptures are already explained that the earth is a globe and sun is a globe, and there are so many other planets revolving the sun. All this information, which the later scientists found out, was already there in our Vedic scriptures. And Bhugol, gol means round. Bhumi is a globe. They already know these facts, and there are so many verses in the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharvana Veda, and there are 4 Vedas, and then there are so many other Upanishads. Everywhere there is reference to these details, and we know that Indian scientists knew all these things ahead of time. There was Dr. K.S. Krishnan, who was the director of National Physical Laboratory. I don't know if I have already told you the story, that he was one day addressing a gathering in a cultural meeting in Delhi, and because he had to go early in his address, he listened to 2 songs and then he addressed the gathering. In that gathering, he said he was not aware that Indian science has already got so much information which they are thinking is not available, and he did research in his National Physical Laboratory for 2 years and found out the age of the earth. 2 groups were finding out the age of the earth, and the numbers were coming from both the groups was different. One group was studying it through the heat energy, another was studying through the magnetic energy, and then they both came out with a number. These numbers were not matching. So he was confused which is right and how to find out who is right. And he was breaking his head all night, and in the morning also he was spilling his breakfast all over him and not eating properly. And his wife came and laughed. Hey, absent-minded professor, what are you doing? Spilling everything on yourself? You are usually so meticulous and clean, and what's happening to you today? Oh, yes, look at me. Then he was telling her that he was confused between the two results which he got in his office, and he doesn't know which is right. What's the experiment about? The age of the earth, they were trying to find out. Okay, let me uh, take your calculator. She took the calculator. She went into the another room and she came back in less than 2 minutes and gave him a number. And when he saw the number and compared the with the two numbers that he has from his institution, one number was matching with this number. He was so amazed. What? In less than 2 minutes, you told me the age of the earth. How did you know it? She said, she laughed. I just went to the Panchanga and referred to it, and it gives you the names of different eras and how many years each era was. And from the time of creation, they have got all that information. I added these numbers, and this is the number. Oh my God, we were spending 2 years doing research through all these sources, and I find that one of the group number is matching with this. I didn't know that our culture is so rich. So he shed tears and he said, okay. And then he spent a lot of time studying the scriptures of India. So what I'm coming to say here is that our Vedantic scriptures, ancient scriptures of India, have additional information more than the scientific information that we have got in the rest of the world. Man has got, so many people have studied the sky and Western world. Galileo, for instance, he had the telescope and he studied the astronomy so deeply, and his notes helped the Western world to develop the astronomy which is there today. But India has got this information from time immemorial, and all the Vedic scriptures can exactly tell you the location of each other planet around the sun. Where is the sun, so Saturn located? Where is the Venus located? Where is Mars located? Everything they have got calculated, and they are telling you exactly when there is going to be solar eclipse, when there is going to be lunar eclipse, and which part of the world they can see it from, and how long it will last. To the exact second, they have calculated. What machine they had? They had no telescope, they had nothing else. And they knew how to do it. That is the beauty of our scriptures. We have to recognize that. And having recognized, let us get the information that is helpful to us from the scriptures and use it to our advantage. Next slide, please. There is more importance to the sun's influence on human life. That's all. Those are the things we have to see. Next slide. Sunlight is primary food. For us to live, we need food, they say, right? And we have studied in our earlier lessons in other subjects, the subtler the food, higher its potency. Potency is a capacity to effect a change in our life, physical and mental life. It can effect an improvement. That is the potency. And we see sunlight is primary food. Among the foods, there are subtle foods and there are gross foods. Gross foods come like water and all the other food that we eat from the plants. They are gross foods. But subtle foods begins from sunlight, air, and ether. Now, sunlight being subtle food, it's also visible, and we can feel the heat and we can see the light of the sun, and it is the sun's light which helps us to see things in the world. There is light and there is shadow and there is dimension, everything we can make out. because of the help of the sunlight. And we need heat. Food is food for the sunlight is food for the healthy person. To stay healthy, you need sunlight in your life. For your eyes, for your skin, for your body, you need sunlight. And it is medicine for the sick. When a person is sick, you subject him to a sunlight exposure and he becomes healthier with the help of sunlight, air, and ether. Basic materials for forming healthy new cells in the body. If, if the new cells are being produced every second of our life, new cells are being produced and replacing the old cells. If the new cells have the influence of sunlight, it becomes a healthier cell. Sunlight, air, and ether, they are necessary as basic food, primary food. So basic materials forming healthy new cells. Best agent for disposing of used cells. When used cells have to be eliminated from the body through the kidney, through the skin, and through the regular urine and feces. Materials are liquid, solid, liquid, and gaseous materials. The waste materials have to be removed by the body, and sunlight helps in getting it. Best agent for disposing of used cells and other fecal matters. Prepares food from plants and as it make it edible for different lives, living beings on earth. Our basic food is plant food that comes from the earth. Earth is not directly food from the plants that comes on the earth. And all plants are not our food. That we have to understand that. We have repeatedly told you about that. All plants are not our food. Each species of animal selects their own choice of plants for as their food. And there are animals, carnivorous animals, which select the animals as their foods. Herbivorous animals as their food. But that also proves the higher status of vegetarian foods, plant food. It is the sunlight which prepares food from plants and makes it edible for different living beings. Sunlight is safe at all times. Next slide, please. When a sunlight is safe, not too much heat. There are four phenomena of our life that is very, very important for us to revise and know here. From the previous chapters we have seen, sunlight helps in growth. That's the one important phenomenon in our life, because every second of our life, from the childhood, from the time a child is born to the time until he dies, he becomes an old man, there is growth in it. You may see the size of the baby growing into a full-fledged man, and then he doesn't grow anymore. But there is growth continuously inside the body. Old cells are thrown out, new cells are grown. This growing is one, growth is one part of the phenomenon. Second, it needs heat for work. With the heat, it moves, the blood cells or the other cells in the body keeps moving. Within the cell also, materials keep moving. All this is energized by sunlight. Heat generated by the sunlight, but the sun also helps in generating that heat for work. And then it generates food, prepares food for us. Even the blood cells, which supplies the food for each cell of the body, nerve cells, flesh cells, hair cells, bone cells, all these cells are fed by the blood cells, and the blood cell is getting fed by the food that we eat, which is converted into assimilable material. And all this process cannot continue without sunlight. There is no life when there is no sunlight. Elimination of waste, solid, liquid, and gaseous. So these are four important phenomenon of life, which we have to consider that it is because of sunlight that happens to us. Now, what? Okay, let it happen with the sunlight. So, what do you do in order to use the sunlight favorably for us? That's what we are going to learn in this uh, lesson. How can we use sunlight for keeping us healthy, and how can we use sunlight for improving our health when we become sick, and how can we use sunlight for maintaining our health, and how can we use sunlight to clean up the surroundings and within the body and outside the body. Those are the things. Sunlight gives us able to see the different colors. We are able to see different colors. Why? Because each color has got different wavelength, and we have gotten used to naming the different colors. We got identify. We can identify things. We can identify the distance, and we can identify that things are moving because of sunlight. And when we identify, it also influences the mind. Let's not forget about the subtlest element in our body. Mind is a subtle element, and mind is also food. And we are going to have separate classes teaching us about mind control and mind regulations, how to improve our thoughts, all those things we are going to learn. But the basic is sun can influence change in the mind, can help us have a healthy mind. In some aspects, it is helpful. How it does help, we will learn at a later stage. Next slide, please. Role of sunlight in preventing diseases like rickets, bow leg, and all that. You might have seen the pictures of Abdul Kalam Azad. Abdul Kalam Azad was a education minister before in the beginning of Indian government. And that person, when he stood, his legs were bow-legged. And it is seen that Muslim ladies wear black dress and they deprive their body of sunlight. Somehow it has been their cultural practice that they should hide their body from from men, other men, and all that. So their cultural practice has made them deprive themselves with sunlight. So the result is children born to them will have weak bones. So it is necessary to educate them. There were Muslim women who joined our nature cure classes, and they made special arrangement in their house for the women to get sunlight directly on their skin. And then their children became healthier children. Sun's heat improves circulation of blood. And improved circulation brings ergosterol to skin level. What is this? Ergosterol is a chemical which is inside the body. It's the sunlight which brings it out to the skin level. And it is that ergosterol is converted by sunlight into vitamin D. And that it is the sunlight influencing vitamin D to combine with calcium and phosphorus makes a combination. Like there is a priest who conducts a wedding of Var and Vadhu, bride and bridegroom. Sunlight comes as a priest, conducting the wedding between calcium and phosphorus and oxygen, and makes it a strong bone, calcium phosphate in the bone, with the help of vitamin D, which was also produced by sunlight, converting ergosterol into vitamin D. See, these are all wonderful details of the thing which we don't have to know. If we know, it's okay. If we don't know, also we simply have to know that our body needs sunlight. We have to expose our body to sunlight as much as possible. If in the privacy of your room, if you can get sunlight through the window, expose the private parts also to the sunlight. You may have to wear clothing when you walk outside, but inside the room, if you can get sunlight through the windows, you should use that time sensibly to expose the private parts also to sunlight, not to the heat. Don't heat it up, just for the light. And you will benefit from that and making all parts of the body healthy. Next slide, please. Regular sunbath improves formation of hemoglobin in the blood. Hemoglobin is red blood cells, You need quite a good number of them, and sunbath helps us to form a good, healthy blood, and it converts certain chemical changes that has to be done. Without the sunlight, you cannot do it. Your body will be pale. There was a story of RH negative, RH positive problem in a child, which I have told you earlier, but I will repeat that story at a later time. And there also, the child was helped in improving the blood with the help of sunlight. The thyroid gland. There's so many people have got thyroid problem, and they go to doctor to check their body, and the doctor says, "Oh, your thyroid is having it's not healthy. Thyroid gland is not secreting properly, so you need this medicine, that medicine." They give you so many other substitutes to take, and then some people remove the thyroid gland or something like that, dangerous things. Don't get involved into all those things. First and foremost, don't go to check your body periodically. That has become the style of people. When you go to check the body periodically, they find this is wrong, that is wrong, and that's wrong. So many wrong things they tell you. And they give you medicines or supplements to overcome that difficulty. Such a process is temporarily good, but in the lasting effect of such methods will be harmful for us, very dangerous for us. Don't resort to methods which will give you temporary benefit, but long-standing problems, which will give you more and more problems, and you resort to more and more short-term benefits. Any effort to remove the effect of a problem without removing the cause of the problem will be a permanent problem. It will make it a permanent problem. That's why you should not resort to medicines. First, try whatever we are saying. If nothing works, then of course, I don't have a choice. You may have to go to medical system. But understand that even the medical system warns you about the use of their own medicines. You see any advertisement, it's always associated with the side effects of the medicines. So before doing anything else, try this, and you will already be successful in healing your problems. Thyroxine contains better iodine with regular sunbath. So there's so many changes have been noticed by the people who have been taking sunbath. There was a lady who had vitamin D deficiency. Maybe I have told you the story earlier, I don't know. But she was told by the doctor that she has to take meat. And there is no other source of getting this vitamin B12. B12 deficiency was there. She had no other go than to take meat, but she said she was a Hare Krishna devotee, and she said she cannot take meat. When she consulted me, I told her to expose her body to daily to sunlight and take coconut water alone for 1 week. After 1 week, I asked her to go and get a checkup. When she went, they found it vitamin D has been re-established. So the doctor said, "Oh, so you had to take meat, right?" So she said, "No. What did you do?" "No, you are the doctor. I won't tell you." She didn't tell her. So what I'm saying here is just sunlight exposure helped her save her child. Such a dangerous situation was reverted, and she came to normalcy with the exposure to sunlight. So we have so many things, benefits, chemical benefits in the body chemistry. Body chemistry improves to the normal just with the exposure to sunlight. Next slide, please. We have stories. Sunlight builds character. Mahabharata is one of the Puranas in our in ancient Vedic scriptures. In the Mahabharata, the character of Karna is considered to be the supreme character in the entire Mahabharata. Even Lord Krishna, who is the master of all, even he had to beg of Karna for the sake of Arjuna in order to win the battle. And Karna was at one time in a difficult situation during the war. His wheel got stuck into the earth. So he got down from the chariot and was trying to pull up the wheel, and Arjuna could never kill him with all his expertise and all the weapons that he had. He could not do anything to kill Karna because there was a Dharma Devata, means there is a goddess who is carrying all the good things that he did. Charity. He was known for charity. Anybody who comes and asks him for anything, he would immediately give it to them without any thinking even a second. He was known for charity, giver, greatest giver in the world. So that person, because of charity, there were so many intricate stories. Indra was the father of Arjuna, and who celestial father, he went in the guise of a Brahmin to ask him for a Kavacha Kundala. Kundala, he was born with some earring and metal covering on his chest, by the help of which nobody could kill him. And that, what do you call, Indra was going to ask him for the charity. As charity, his Kavacha and Kundala. And sun god, who was Karna's father, gave him a warning that this person is coming to ask you this. What are you telling me not to give him? Let people ask me anything, I will give them. He cannot stop him from giving. Such a great character was. He gave his Kavacha Kundala to Indra and did not worry about it. But because Dharma Devata means goddess of goodness, and she protected his life. And then Krishna had to go for the sake of Arjuna so that he could kill Karna. He went and begged of him all the good deeds that he did, benefit of all good deeds. And Karna did not think for a minute, and he just using his blood as a water, and he gave charity to Krishna, saying, Kathas, give it, here it is, take it. He did not care who is coming in the guise of Brahmin. It may be Krishna, it may be anybody. He didn't care. His character was to give. So after he gave the benefits of all his good deeds, immediately Arjuna could kill him. So whatever good or bad in this story, that's a little thing. All the information that I want to give is it builds character. With the influence of sunlight, your character becomes very strong. You're not afraid of anything. Your goodness flows easily, and you become a very good person. That is all the influence of sunlight. And you may not believe whatever I'm saying, but it is the story which tells us the values of all these things, different things. Now let us see the next slide, please. ततो युद्धः परिश्रान्तं समरे चिन्तया स्थितं रावणं चाग्रतो दृष्ट्वा युद्धाय समुपस्थितं दैवतैश्च समागम्य द्रष्टुमभ्यागतोरणम् उपागम्याब्रवीद् रामम् अगस्त्यो भगवान् ऋषि राम राम महाबाहो ऋणगृह्यं सनातनं येन सर्वा नरीन् वत्स समरे विजयिष्यसि आदित्य हृदय पुण्यम सर्वशत्रु विनाशनम जयावहम जपे नित्यम अक्षयम परमं शिवम सर्वमंगल मांगल्यम सर्वपाप प्रणाशनम चिंता शोक प्रशमनम आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम. I'm not going to go on, but this much of verse is important for us to know that there was a stage when Rama, in the Ramayana story, Rama was fighting with Ravana. Ravana was great devotee of Shiva, and he had so many boons, and because of which he was protected, and Rama could not kill him even after making so many efforts. Rama was a great warrior, but there was something which was still protecting Ravana, and he could not kill him. So in his camp, those days wars were fought when both parties of the army was ready. They have to declare, yes, I am ready to fight. Only then they will fight. That was Dharma Yuddha. In Mahabharata and in Ramayana, these are all the different things that is taught. Not when the person is sleeping, go and attack him, kill him, put the bombs. Those are these. Nowadays, people are doing that's horrible. Earlier days, when you want to fight or kill anybody else, ask him, are you ready to fight? Both parties will have to say that yes, they are ready. Only then the fight begins. That was Dharma Yuddha. So in those days, Rama was so worried that he is not able to kill Ravana. He didn't go to the war front, and so the war was not there. They were asking, is there anybody who is coming to fight? Nobody is coming. So they both rested, and during that time, Agastya was already knowing by just looking at him, he was a great rishi, and he knew that Rama is concerned that he is not able to win over Ravana. So Agastya knew his problem, and he says, 9 days you fast and worship Surya Narayana. Surya Narayana is sun god. And he taught him the verses of praise to sun god. Sarva Mangala Mangalye, Sarva Mangalyam, Sarva Papa Pranasanam, Chinta Shoka Prasamanam, Ayurvardhanam Uttamam. All kinds of qualities of sunlight. You have to chant and worship sun god, fasting 9 days. Rama undertook whatever the teacher taught him, Agastya Rishi, and he followed that and worshipped sun god. Rama himself is the avatar of Lord Vishnu. Why should he worship sun god? That was the limitation. There was a boon for Ravana that nobody could kill him. But he did, in the boon, he did not ask for a normal human being to be able to kill him, because he knew normal human beings is nothing before him. He is much more mightier than him. And Rama was born with the condition that he should not use his celestial powers, God's powers in his life. Only then he can kill. As a normal human being, he should fight with Ravana, and only then he will be killed. So we had limitations. So within that limitation, Agastya told him to worship sun god, and worshipping sun god, he will get all those powers, with which powers of for concentration. He has to be very focused and hit the arrows in certain spot of his Ravana's body so that he could die. So when he was fasting and not fighting, there was no war. And after fighting, praying 9 days, on the 10th day he declared war again, and he went to the war front, and he could immediately kill Ravana on the 10th day. And that's why they are celebrating Vijaya Dashami. Vijaya means victory, on Dashami means 10th day of the moon, and that's when Ravana was killed by Rama. In the North India, they celebrate Dashera as the victory of Rama over Ravana, good over evil. So what I'm trying to bring out here is that the effect of sunlight gives you so much of power of focus, concentration, attention. If you want to learn something, you need the influence of sunlight so that you can learn it better. If you want to teach something, you need the influence of sunlight to be able to express your thoughts properly. So all these benefits are coming from sunlight. So let us learn the values of sunlight in different aspects of it and adopt it in our life so that we could help the sick get better and we could help the healthy to become healthier. All these things are included in this sun cure class because the importance of sunlight has to be known fully. Only when we know that there are people, astrologers, who are telling us, oh, you have got Sani dosha, you have got this Rahu dosha, this dosha. Dosha means defects. Defects means influenced by certain planets around the sun. If they know according to the calendar, Indian calendar, the location of certain planets which come in line with sunlight. Whenever that planet comes into cross the Earth's area, there's a duration out to which that planet stays. Like in certain angle, there are 2.5 years. The Saturn is in line with Sun and the Earth. So sometimes it is 7.5 years. It's 2.5 years or 7.5 years, whichever is the period. They say you have Sani dosha, you cannot do business, you will be unsuccessful, you will have losses. All those things the astrologers tell the people and ask them to do the homa and yajna and pay them money. These are all have become commercial ventures. But the idea here is that the Indian calendar knows the location of different planets in line with the sun, and each planet has got its own rate of speed of revolving around the sun. Then it goes in fantastic speed, 250 miles per hour. It's like that. So many different planets have got different speeds of going around. We are talking about the fastest car can go 100 miles per hour, all kinds of things, but plane can go 200 miles an hour. But this is much more, 250,000 miles per hour. Those speeds are unimaginable. That is the speed with which the sun is traveling in the galaxy along with all the planets. And all of us are traveling along with it. And each planet revolves around the sun. We do it in 1 year, and there are similar planets who do it in 3 years or 7 years, like that. So we have to think about all those things because all the information is about influence of planets, and along with sunlight, it has got some influence on us. The shadow or the magnetic force that comes and attacks the earth, either attraction or repulsion, whichever magnetic force that has got influence on the lives of people who living in this world, because their birth star, it affects only those people at the time of birth. Whatever was the position of other planets has an influence on human life. Those are all different aspects. We don't have to worry about them. All that we have to worry about is our healthy life. Healthy life includes healthy body and healthy mind, our character. If we have regular exposure of our body to sunlight, every morning we have to do sun gazing also. What are the different values of sun gazing? We'll learn about it at a later stage. How to do the sun gazing, everything we have to learn in detail. Those are the things we are saying, but the values of sunlight has to be elaborately explained. Next slide, please. That's what we are saying. It builds character, it builds confidence, and it builds mental peace, and it gives us broad-mindedness. How does it do it? A healthy person is peaceful. A healthy person is not irritated all the time. He is not angry. He is not shouting around. He is peaceful. And he has got confidence. Not that he is scared of anybody. That's why he is peaceful. He doesn't talk loudly because he is confident. Look at an elephant walking on the street and several dogs barking at it. Is the elephant trying to run behind the dogs and chase him? No, no. He's not bothered about little dogs barking here and there. He walks comfortably and confidently. That is the kind of mental peace that we should have. Broad-mindedness. Oh, these people are behaving like that. Let them behave like that. But I'm not bothered. So that kind of a attitude we should have in our life. Troubles come, so many obstacles come, so many differences of opinion between people come at all stages. My mother-in-law is bad, my father-in-law is scolding, and all this daughter-in-law, mother-in-law problem, daughter-in-law, father-in-law problem. All those problems are because of lack of confidence, lack of mental peace. If the other person is behaving bad, you don't have to behave bad. You can still be good and you can tell them that they are wrong without any fear, with love, with affection. There are so many ways of dealing with difficult situations in life. And all that capacity comes with the regular exposure of our body to sunlight, our eyes to the sunlight. We are going to deal with all those details in following chapters. But let us understand that sunlight is basic requirement for all of us. Don't live in areas where there is less sunlight. So let us focus on what are the different ways in which we can use sunlight for our health. Thank you. Namaste.